Welcome to Sips and Spice. My name is Candace.
This is Chef Tyler Thomas.
We about to get into some things. Let's sip a little bit.
Thank you to Belaire for sponsoring Sips and Spice very first episode. We greatly appreciate you guys, and this champagne is amazing. You guys should definitely go get you a bottle. The Luke's bottle. Not the regular bottle, but the Luke's bottle. You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely talking to me. I used to give this to my clients once upon a time before I was a TikTok chef. I used to choose to give them Belaire for my Valentine's Day package. Do you have a Valentine this year?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Progress.
I got one Valentine this year.
Okay, you got one Valentine.
Yeah, I got one because I had like 3 last year.
You know, black folks be adding that apostrophe and the S on it. The Valentine's.
Yeah, it was definitely plural. It was given plural last year, but not this year. Yeah. No, okay. Can't do that. So, what about you though? What about you? You got Valentine's this year?
It depends. We'll check that phone after the first blooper roll. But
you gotta check it on the 15th. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure that Valentine's goes smooth.
You know, dudes are issue with I was working that day. You know what I'm saying?
So what y'all drinking for Valentine's Day?
If he ain't pulling out the Belaire Lux, he gotta go. That's all I'm saying.
If he ain't pulling out the Belaire Lux, he might not have the bucks. You know what I'm saying?
He might not. He might not.
There might be a little slogan. You know what I'm saying? If he don't pull out the Lux, he don't got the bucks. You know what I'm saying?
I got a cool sense, so that's all that. I don't know if they take that for this, but I don't got. You know, I used to get it. Like I said, I used to get it to my clients and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this is something that you've had too with your clients. Mm-hmm. Was it mainly women booking Valentine's Day private dinners? Because I never really had no fellas.
Most of the women was booking me, period. Mm-hmm. I have probably like an 80% women clientele. And a lot of those, I had more women book me for their man than men book me for their woman.
Why is that?
Women be stepping different, you know what I'm saying? One of my clients, her man got out of jail. He was doing like a 3-year sentence or something like that. She gave him $150K when he got out. She bought him a car. She booked me. When I was there, we had a live pianoist. And she was singing, and he had a massage there waiting on him as well.
I used to get
She did it like, I said, man,
I
want some of that. I want to see what that be like, you know what I'm saying? I want to see what that be like. So I definitely have had a lot more women, you know, book me than men for sure.
I'm wondering why that is. Like, I don't think I ever had something that grand, but I definitely feel like women do be the spenders now. Like, I don't know what be going on the internet. I feel like a lot of those conversations that be on the internet be very, nobody talks about that in real life.
I'm gonna say this, just from my personal experience, a lot of the women that were doing it, they were taken care of by their man. So
yeah.
Their money was extra. Like the money that they had, you could tell the money that they had, that was taken care of, and the money that they had was extra. So they could spend that 15, they could spend that 2,000 on their man. Cause they was booking me and they was buying them a Louis Vuitton belt or something like that. So
generational wealth.
Yeah. So, you know, it definitely wasn't like just a deadbeat type of vibe. Like you could tell the man was definitely taking care of his woman for sure, and that's why, you know, she reciprocated that energy for him, made him feel special.
Well, what's the definition of taking care of a woman to you? To you, and not nobody else, just to you.
Me personally, just making sure she's straight, physically, mentally, you know, because you cannot have it financially, but still be support her from an emotional standpoint, still like actually be there for her, you know, just doing things like making her feel, you know, safe, protected, open the door for her, making sure she walking on the right hand side of you when y'all on the side, just little stuff like that, just to make sure that, you know, she feel protected and safe while you're around her.
Okay. So you don't really dabble into the sprinkle stuff, like trick offs and stuff down there. Like that ain't really.
I mean, I have my time. Like I have my time. Like, you know, I have my time. You know.
You bought a bag or two. You bought a bag or two.
For my mama.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fair.
For my mama. So, Kansas, I met you a few years ago, and our introduction to each other was through Clubhouse. Do you remember that?
Do I? Yes. Why y'all still on Clubhouse?
I'm
still on Clubhouse. Somebody watching this is still on Clubhouse to this day.
They probably are.
Okay.
But we pretty much met through Clubhouse. Pretty much started a group. Me and Chef Honcho, Tashay. We pretty much got together and was like, hey, we have a big influence in the culinary industry. why don't we come together to try to bring together all the black chefs or just chefs period and just try to shine light on and give awareness to things that we have going on in the industry. So you definitely were one of the chefs that I remember out of the group. You were in there every day, listening, taking tips, and you took the advice very good. But how did you get started on your culinary journey before you even found us out on Clubhouse?
Well, so formally, I've known Tyler before we got cool. So before you even knew who I was. So I knew you, I think you was still in Charlotte. So this was before you moved to Atlanta. And I remember that was back on before Instagram had Reels.
Yeah.
And you was still putting like the little purple orchid flower on stuff like that. You remember the little purple orchid flowers?
I wasn't doing that, but I was doing the microgreens.
But you know, like the fruity pepper French toast and the birria top, like that stuff was kind of the buzz, like brunch catering.
Well, really,
things like that.
really the pineapple bowls. I don't know if you remember the pineapple
teriyaki
bowls.
bowl.
When I was coming up, them pineapple bowls and pineapple bowls, Alfredo, and seafood boils, or like seafood plates. Everybody was getting on the pescatarian wave. You know, that was real big when I was coming up, real big.
So I was following you from like there, like, so I was always a fan. Like I always appreciated like what you was doing for me, because I never expected to be a food creator, TikTok chef, whatever you want to call it. I never expected to be that. I always wanted to follow more in your footsteps, where you was a caterer and you was doing private chefs for celebrities and things like that. So that might have been around when you cooked for Chris Brown, I believe. But I definitely was following you because you was young and ambitious, and we really didn't have, I mean, we had a lot of examples of it, but I felt like since we was closer in age, it was inspiring. So you definitely did play like a huge part in who I am, obviously, because I was asking y'all a million questions every day, and now I could call y'all in a personal way. So that was mainly how I started my career. I wanted to cook. You know, when you ask any of us why we want to cook, it's just, I don't know, why is that your favorite color? I don't know, I just like it. You know what I'm saying? Like you just born, that's what you like. Everybody got the same story. I grew up cooking in the kitchen with my mama. I was 5 years old. My granny, we all got the same story. So for me, my journey kind of, you know, picked up after I dropped out of college. So I was about 19. I had just left, like, you know, I don't know if I can say that, you know, get to the point. I had a not so good relationship. Some people would call it abusive. And I dropped out of college because of that, for mental health. And I wanted to pursue catering and being in service for people, because I like making people happy. So I would be in college planning on leaving. I'd just be building my website. I'd be looking at people making cooking videos and things like that. So I don't know if you remember, the way to market your catering business was to post maybe recipes. It was a little bit new for everybody, but eventually I was posting. I started selling plates. Plates make good money. You could become a millionaire for selling plates. I would sell plates before I owned a restaurant. I'd do that. I'd do that before I do that. So I was doing that throughout college to pay my bills. And eventually I started getting a high off of food videos. That's how I was coping. I was coping with grief. I was coping with PTSD, all type of stuff. And that was my medium, right? So eventually a video went viral, and that just changed things for me. So I told myself I'm finna sell plates until I move to Atlanta. I'm gonna follow in your footsteps. Ain't nobody wanna be no food influencer. I don't want nobody telling me how to cook this. I don't wanna have to filter myself for brand. Like that was never me, because I was always somebody that just wanna cook and make people happy. So what you was doing at the time was something that I aspired to be. I wanted to cook for celebrities that I like. And
I actually remember around that time because you were one of the people who was bold enough to stand up in the Clubhouse group and be like, because remember we had a day where we were critiquing people's pages, and you know, you were bold enough to come up to the front and we gave you critique on your page, and shit, I mean, you done lapped me like 3 times around. Like I got like 90,000, you got like 400,000. So this a little more than 3. This about 4-5 times. So
I ain't go for Chris Brown though.
I mean, you know, your time gonna come. Your time gonna come. Cause one thing that I do know that you just being in the industry and just loving the industry and loving the game, like it's always gonna reward you. You know, I started when I was young. I was 17 years old. I had moved from Birmingham, Alabama, and I just wanted to seek a new, kind of like a new life, just a new like way to kind of do things. And going to Johnson & Wales in Charlotte, North Carolina was probably one of the best things that I had ever done,
Okay.
So I went, and on my first day, my teacher actually told me, she was like, yeah, this is for you. So I ended up selling food out of my dorm rooms. And it just started catching buzz around the city, started cooking for a few celebrities, a few NFL, NBA players. And during the pandemic, I ended up moving to Atlanta. And by the time I had moved to Atlanta, I had already had a name for myself. So me moving to Atlanta was really to kind of, just bring more brand awareness, move closer to home to my family, and, just make an impact in a different city. So, I'm definitely appreciative of, people like Candace and, just kind of being a trailblazer for other people, because honestly, I think one of the most important things you can do is like give back to others, because something that really warms my heart is just seeing people like thrive and shine off of the information that you could give them. So, that's definitely one tip that I could give for today. I would definitely say, just reach back and, help somebody else, because I would have never imagined that we would be sitting here doing a podcast together, just from her being in the Clubhouse room to today. So, yeah, I definitely would definitely say give back to the people for sure.
My favorite thing, we'll get into that later, but my favorite thing that you ever made, aside from when at your restaurant.
She actually pulled up on me about plates for me. Yeah.
When you first moved to Atlanta, I actually remember the first apartment you was cooking out of. Very humbling this here. You came a long way, and that's something to be proud of. I will always remember, I was like, oh my God, Chef Thomas is down here cooking, selling plates. I'm finally get to taste. I was so lame, y'all so lame. Like, it's so lame. And that is like one of my friends. Like, most of my friends is content creators or entrepreneurs. And I was following them on social media before we got to know each other. And I really used to be, most of the people you see, I used to be real big fans of. And I'm like, damn, like, you was messing with me too. You like my stuff too. So you had sold blackened chicken breast, mac and cheese, and broccoli. Mm-hmm. To this day, I be craving that same exact plate. And I'm not saying that because we on the pod. I feel like if you go back in our DMs, I used to ask you all the time when you was gonna sell plates again.
No, you did.
Yeah, and it was so good. Like, chicken breast, I don't know what you be doing to your food.
Them plates be time consuming though. Cause I put love in my food. That's the reason why it tastes like that. Like, I don't just rush food. Like, I done worked with a lot of chefs in the industry before, and I done seen them rush their food, and I just can't do it.
Some dirty kitchens.
I've seen a lot of dirty kitchens.
So my question for you is, we would have them conversations on Clubhouse. Mm-hmm. What makes somebody a chef versus people being more in the internet space?
Me personally, I would say a lot of people would just consider chefs people who actually like worked in the industry and put those hours in, put that time in, worked up from a dishwasher. They might have bust tables, then was a dishwasher, then they did the line cook, then they moved on to desserts and, chef de cuisine and sous chef and chef. I personally didn't take that route.
Yeah.
I did work in some restaurants. I did work for the Marriott and work in their catering department, so I do have some industry experience. But I would say that's the big difference between just like an industry chef versus someone who's just like, hey, I can cook good, I can put good food together.
Subjective.
So let me get into it.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is subjective, because even the industry chefs, their food is good, but it's subjective. But someone who can cook good and, just put out a quality product to the people. And honestly, these days, the non-industry chefs are the ones who are thriving and eating more than the industry chefs, because you have people like you, most industry chefs, they're probably making about $40,000 to $60,000 a year, maybe $70,000 on a good end. Content creators can easily make $15,000 just in a month. So
easily,
yeah. So it's definitely a different climate for sure.
So I guess my question for you would be, what made you pivot more into doing content? Like, well, before I ask that, would you prefer being the chef / caterer and what you're doing like today, looking at today with like money, passion, time, what's aligned with what you got going on?
I'm gonna say this, the content creator is definitely beneficial, but I'm gonna say this, if a lot of the industry chefs were to actually take the time and put in to be content creators, they would be blowing the actual creators out of the water.
Yeah.
And it's just because the industry chefs, they have more experience, they have more depth on things that they can actually talk about. And they can provide more of a variety of different recipes for people. Because I see a lot of the creators nowadays that are ruling the space, they're doing a lot of mac and cheeses, they're doing a lot of viral pastas.
Tennessee.
There you go, a lot of chicken wings, a lot of steak and mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Just things of that sort that kind of like, and I understand why, because I've had to understand over the years that you have to simplify everything because you want to be relatable.
Yeah.
The content creators that are making the most money, they're relatable. These chefs, they're making these hazelnut pestos and beurre blancs and things of that sort.
They can't even spell beurre blanc, ain't they?
A lot of people don't even understand what a beurre blanc is, and if you taught them, they wouldn't even remember it after they walked out of this door. So it's just being more relatable and just finding a way to touch the viewers or the audience that you attract. Because you might attract a different audience than I do, and I might attract a different audience than you do. So
that was good. I needed to get to the bottom of my glass.